Welcome to Ira's Discovery Series, Discovering Ira and Holiday Shopping. I'm Janine Stanley, and I'm the Director of Customer Communications here at Ira. And I am joined by our erstwhile producer, Sid. Hi, Sid.
Hello, Janine. Hello, everybody.
After a bit of a rough start, we are here with three people who are small business owners who use the Intuit Small Business offer here at Ira. And that is one of the promotions that we have, thanks to the good people at Intuit, to encourage blind and low vision people to start their own businesses and run their own businesses. We have with us today Krystle Zamudio. Hi, Krystle.
Hello, how are you?
And Casey Math. Yeah, I'm great, Krystle. And Casey Mathews.
Hey everybody, how are you?
Awesome. And Brandon Olivarez. Hi, Brandon.
Hello.
Awesome. So let's start with Krystle. Krystle, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business. What kind of business do you run?
So I have been an independent Scentsy consultant for about 2.5 years now. I started in 2020. And what Scentsy is we offer decor for the home and lots of different other products that are based around fragrances.
Mm, very nice, especially this time of year. I have one sitting on my desk right here, as I was telling Krystle before we got started. Casey, tell us a little bit about your business.
So, Web Friendly Help is the name of the business, and it's been around now for about 3 years, just over. And we specialize in providing access technology, training, and support for people that need it, whether that's on a computer, laptop, whatever the case may be. Help with the screen reader, magnifier software out there, along with all of the Windows challenges that go along with it. And then we also have research side, business, as well as audio editing. We can possibly talk about that as time allows.
Ooh, absolutely. Yeah. Audio editing. Gosh, what could we talk about there? Sid and I are going, yeah, nothing. Yeah, no. And Brandon, tell us a little bit about your business.
Yeah, I run a business called Possible Promise Financial, and basically it's all things money. So I do kind of two different services for individuals. I offer like money coaching, help with budgeting and mindset around money and things like that. And then I'm also a certified QuickBooks Pro advisor through Intuit. So I offer bookkeeping for
Ooh,
businesses and help with cash flow and profitability and things like that.
there we go. And you're hitting another one of our great access offers from Intuit, the QuickBooks offer. And
Yes.
actually, with that, I'm going to go ahead and start with you this time, Brandon. Tell us a little bit about the things, the kinds of tasks that you do with agents under the small business offer, so people can get some sort of a feel for what you can do with this offer.
Oh, it's so helpful because so a lot of it is already pretty accessible because I get bank statements in a form that I can read already usually. But a lot of times some clients like to send me scanned copies of things. And so I'll try to OCR it, but sometimes it doesn't come out very clearly, so I'll call Ira. Um, I just had a situation yesterday, actually, that's a perfect example. I was tracking down for a business I'm working with a deposit that was not matching up properly. And so I asked her to send me the deposit slip, and it was handwritten. So we all
Oh
know
my.
OCR doesn't do so great with that. So
Yeah.
I had to call Ira, and they read through and gave me all the information I needed, and it was so helpful. So like there it's a lot of reading scanned documents. Sometimes the client will put in handwritten notes, and I have to get help with
Oh
that kind of
my.
stuff. Yeah, so that's what a lot of it is, and it's so helpful because I don't know what I would do without that kind of assistance.
Oh, that's great. Now, have you tried our web app, our beta, Ira for Desktop beta?
Yeah, I love it. It's sometimes a little bit buggy,
Mm,
but I do really enjoy it. Sometimes it's nice just so I don't have to get up my phone. So I use that when I can. And I like that it has the screen sharing feature now. If they don't need to control my screen or anything, I have to use TeamViewer if that's the case. But otherwise, it's really nice with the screen sharing feature.
Great. Casey, let's go to you. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you do in your business, which will be interesting given the range of things that you do.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite a bit. So I do business a lot of times with different state agencies and sometimes government agencies, and sometimes they want their paperwork in a particular format or done a certain way, and sometimes those ways just don't work too well with screen readers. So I'll get sometimes PDFs that are complete graphics, but they need to be signed, and sometimes they need to be actually mailed out in the through the post office. So
Oh
all of
my.
that just requires a lot of nitpicky paperwork, and so Ira and the small business offer is just invaluable because I really couldn't do what I do without it. I don't have somebody hands-on, that I can call on that's sighted that can just go here, let me just do this for you. I don't have that option. So this is, I'd be dead in the water without it. I get sometimes checks in the mail that I have to have help with depositing, and the apps do make things easier, but figuring out what the
Yeah, it kind of
handwritten
depends on
amounts
the
are.
app, right?
Yeah, it completely can. And even just getting the amounts on the check, what's this check for? How much is it? Because you do have to know that. So all those little paperwork pieces have to be done right and look well also. So it's just an invaluable service for me.
Wow, I see a theme here. Lots and lots of paperwork. And those are definitely some of the tasks that this offer is meant to help out with. Those tasks that otherwise you would need to hunt up a sighted person around you, maybe pay an assistant for, things like that. And all you need is the visual. You can take care of the rest, right?
Right.
Well, let's hear from Krystle here. And I would imagine, given the inventory you have, that you probably have some interesting tasks.
Oh, the agents and I have so much fun.
I
Um,
bet.
so one of the biggest things that I use the Intuit Small Business for is whenever we get a new catalog, a new Scentsy catalog, because we transition twice a year, the agents and I go through and we have to look at every item, um, especially the warmers, which are the wax
Oh,
warmers. We have to go through every warmer, and they assist me by opening up a Word document and writing down the description of every warmer because I really like to be descriptive as much as possible for my visually impaired customers. And so their biggest question is, well, what does that warmer look like? So that is
mm-hmm.
one of the things that the agents and I do. We do that for the catalogs, we do it for the holiday brochures and the harvest brochures for Halloween. And anytime that I have a new product coming out, the Intuit Small Business Software helps me with that. And another thing that we do is I do a lot of online Facebook parties for customers who want to earn free and discounted products. So the startup
Oh,
on the page is challenging. Um, just to get the Facebook cover picture centered and make sure that there's no other stuff off, crooked. So they help me with that, starting the Facebook page. And another thing that we do is saving photos and labeling the name of the photo. For example, if
uh-huh.
I have a file called warmers, and in that file I have lots of different graphics and flyers. And so they'll label each one for me. This is the polar panorama photo. This is the picture of the Harry Potter castle. And so we do that. And I think the last thing that I do is, of course, product labeling. I try to label all my products in Braille, especially if I'm mailing out
Ooh.
products to my customers from home. So all my bars, all my body care, all the pet care, everything will have Braille labels on it. And if I can't get another app to read it to me, I definitely call the Intuit small business offer, and the agents and I will go through and label, and we have a blast. The agents are always
Oh, I
commenting on how
bet.
fun it is. Yes, they love
I
it.
bet. I mean, that's just thinking about all that just sounds like fun. And I
Yes,
have
they're
spent many an hour at a Scentsy table at different conventions or other going, okay, I want that and that. And how am I going to get that home? Wait a minute.
oh yes, I've spent many an hour playing around in my own inventory.
I can only imagine. Well, since we are here to talk holiday shopping with folks, I'm going to give folks a rundown. It is tasks like this, doing inventory, doing bookkeeping, helping with print things. These are all tasks that are part of the Intuit Small Business promo. You get 150 minutes per month on this promo, and there is a list of tasks, and that can be found in the Aira app right now, and that is going to be on the front on your home screen. And pardon me because I'm not an Android user, but I think I know where it is there. You can actually tap on the apply a free offer button. You can go in and take a look. Believe it's in products, but it could be under promotions. Janine did her show prep really well today, but you will look for the Intuit Small Business offer, and you can tap on that, and it will give you a whole list of the tasks that are eligible under that particular offer. So, with that, Casey, we've got the holidays coming up. I know people are going to get devices over the holidays. What have you noticed each year that there are certain things that your business kind of prepares for or maybe picks up during the holidays that you're finding you've got customers who want to know about?
Well, it's funny you say that. The Black Friday deals has been in full swing, and people have already been, getting computers, and they need help with that, getting rid of software that they don't want, they don't need, getting rid of pop-up software. So a lot of that has been, going on, especially with those kind of products, and that's going to, obviously continue, through the holiday season. The other interesting thing that we've been getting lately, along with that, is you get these PDF manuals that are not always
Oh,
real
yes.
accessible. And here again, Iowa really comes into play, because sometimes these manuals will have graphics that depict certain hotkeys that you need to press, or buttons or something. And, I'm happy to help the customer, but with that, I have to get, them to help me first. So, um,
Mhm.
so that's an interesting little piece of that, because along with that, the customer would sometimes like to be able to read their owner's manual for whatever device it happens to be. So that can really come in handy too, because I can't help them, and if I can't read it correctly either. So that kind of is a nice little side thing that I've been able to help with too.
Great. Have you seen any increase in people getting the smart speakers and smart devices and needing some help getting those set up and working?
Yeah, a lot of increase with that, especially with the Black Friday deals. Sometimes they're half off or a third off or whatever. So there's a lot of that, and it's great, because in my position, some of those things, once they're connected, sometimes I can connect to their computer, get into their account through their computer, and then help them configure these devices. So it's kind of a hands-off experience for them. And if they don't know where a setting is, I can just say, well, you know what, I can just enable it for you, this way. So yeah, but those speakers have been really, really popular this year, and I think that's just going to increase.
Oh, I think so. I've practically got them in every room in my house. Probably some rooms that never should have a speaker in them, but
Right?
um, great. Now, Brandon, we are in an economy that is difficult to deal with for a lot of folks. What happens in your business around the holidays? What kinds of things do you find yourself doing? And then what kind of advice are you going to give us this holiday season? I think we're all just saying, "Oh my goodness, what can we expect for 23?"
Yeah, bookkeeping is a thing that it's pretty popular all throughout the year, just because it's always needed. But especially towards the end of the year, it really hasn't not too much to do with the holidays, but it just happens to coincide with the end of the tax year, and
Ah,
so
yes.
so
That's a
if
big one in our house.
yeah, so if businesses don't have their books all nice and prepared and accurate and everything where it should be, it can kind of be a time of panic where it's like, okay, well, I have to get my 2022 books all together for 2023 for tax season to send to the accountant or whatever. So it can be a time of, okay, I need to get this all cleaned up. I'm working on a big cleanup job right now for a client that needs to get done by the end of the year, just for that reason. And so, yeah, that's really the big thing is, again, not too much to do with the holidays, but as the tax year comes to an end,
Ah, yes.
just making sure all your numbers are accurate, making sure everything's how it should be, and that the year is clearly recorded.
Mhm. And it is Giving Tuesday as we record this podcast and come live to you out there on YouTube and on Zoom. And so, having charitable deductions and things like that, I'm sure is important as well, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff that, I mean, there are so many different situations that can go into it that there's a lot of complicated situations out there.
So, when we're talking about an economy like this, and I know everybody feels pressure every year, oh my goodness, I've got to get everybody gifts, um, how do you work with people who are just starting out financially, maybe, and maybe are trying to navigate this whole, okay, I have to pay my bills, but I want to buy these things for people and I want to do these things, and how should I be taking care of my money?
Yeah, so that goes more into, like I said, I do budgeting. I help with budgeting also. And I think, budgeting also is something that's so important all throughout the year, but it can really pressure us when it comes to
Oh,
Christmas. So
yeah.
we have all these gifts to buy and I always recommend to people like start saving for Christmas in January. That it's so important to start just setting aside money month by month throughout the year. That way, when December comes around, you have money set aside for it. So a lot of what I would do with people looking at that kind of thing is just um, I help clarify, like, okay, what are your actual expenses? Because a lot of people don't know. I've had people I've worked with where they're like, I swear there's not any extra money to put towards anything. And then we go through and comb through
Hmm.
their expenses, and they have a lot left, a lot more left than they expected they did. And maybe there's stuff that's going towards things that aren't quite necessary, or they're spending a lot more than they want to in certain areas. And so they can start to save more. So uh, it's really helpful to go through and really comb through your expenses and what do you actually have left over and what can you save, and starting to create those good habits right now.
Hmm. And how many subscription services are you subscribed to that you completely forgot about? We're not going to talk about that one.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
I
funny because I pay so much attention to my bank accounts. It doesn't really happen to me too much because I know exactly what's coming out all the time, and I'm
Oh
prepared
my
for it. So
gosh.
yeah, that I know it's a common experience, but I don't get that too much myself.
Hmm. I was shocked actually when I went through, even on the iPhone under subscriptions, like,
Oh
wait,
yeah.
why am I subscribed to that? I haven't used that app in years, and it's just an automatic thing. So, yeah, amazing. Truly amazing. Now, I'm going to talk retirement because many of us, we don't think about it until we
Oh
kind of
yeah.
get close to retirement. Yeah. So, talk to us a little bit about, starting to set up that planning and what that looks like.
Yeah, it's that's one of those things that's never too early. I know a lot of people when they're in their 20s, they're thinking, oh, that's 40 years away. I don't need to think about that. Um, but you do. It's something that's going to happen one day. It's an inevitability. And I've seen personally what can happen when people don't save for that, and then they just have social security and that's it. And that's a really hard situation to live with. So, that's one of the first things. And even if, you're in debt, even if you have debt you're paying off, student loans or credit card debt or things like that, it's always important, that can take who knows how many years to pay all that off, but it's always important to start saving for retirement early on and setting aside. The ideal, I always say, is like 10%, but even 5%, whatever you can swing, just starting to set that aside, and you won't miss it, you know what I mean? Like once it's set aside, like you'd be surprised, you just don't really miss that little amount that you don't notice. But then it grows, and putting into a Roth IRA or traditional IRA or whatever kind of vehicle that you think is best, but just starting to set that aside early on, and compounding over years and over decades. I mean, it can really grow to really large amount, but it's so important to get that started early on.
Yeah, and don't look at it.
Don't
Just
look at
don't look at
it.
it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Especially after the last couple of years. I
Yeah.
looked at my husband is just religious about looking after the finances, which is great. But he's also religious about telling me about them too. So, and a lot of people in the ether lost a fair amount from their retirement savings based on investments over the past couple of years. But you know what? It's coming back, I think.
It is. Yeah.
We'll see. We're going to cross our fingers. And it's only important when you need to take it out, right?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. And I have this weird sense of I like to look at things that I can invest in, and I like to go over the different mutual funds and all that kind of thing. So I'm pretty sure that I'm just defective that way. Maybe I don't know, but
Yeah, I
um,
enjoy it too.
how accessible is all of that information out there? If somebody wants to look at their choices, is it fairly accessible, or are some places better than others, do you think?
Yeah, as far as like brokerages and things like that, there are certainly a wide array of options, and some are more accessible than others. Some ones I use personally, SoFi has an investment platform, and I use that just because that's where I do my banking through. I know M1 Finance is a really popular one that's really accessible. I used to use Robinhood, although I don't think they have IRAs or retirement vehicles like that. They just do active taxable investments. TD Ameritrade, things like that. Some of the more traditional ones are a little harder to navigate because they have a lot more options and graphs and things like that. So it's a little tricky. So for accessibility, I like to stick with things that are pretty simple, because a lot of times we don't need the bells and whistles. You don't really care about seeing the graphs and things like that. But yeah, there
And they
are
can
definitely
explain
accessible
that in
options.
text too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there are definitely accessible options out there.
That is good to know. And now we move to Krystle with the fun of holiday trends, things that are hot style wise, or just kind of the range of products with Scentsy. Because I didn't realize, I thought they just did the wax warmers and the little blocks of wax, and I had no idea they had all this other stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, of course, our main thing is wax and warmers, which is, for those who don't know, a safe alternative to candles. No flame, no soot, no smoke. I really like them as a blind person because I like to have fragrance in my house, and I also like to leave my house and leave things on. Candles, you can't do that. No.
I have
Uh,
cats. No candles around here with cats. No.
yes, and and that's a tricky part, but we do offer body care, pet care, laundry care,
Ooh.
cleaning products, on the go fragrances, ways that you can take your fragrance with you, things for the car, things for the office, lots of different things, diffusers. It's just
Ooh.
grown. The company started in 2004, and it's grown massively. But as far as holiday trends, we have our holiday catalog out right now. One of the big
Ooh.
things that we have license agreements with a lot of companies, major companies. So we are able to offer lots of products for Christmas presents. We partner with Warner Brothers. So right now our hot thing is Harry Potter.
Oh
Lots of Harry
boy,
Potter
yeah.
warmers,
Hmm.
plushies. We have buddies. They're called buddies. We have a really cute
Oh, I was
Hedwig
wondering if you
buddy.
still had those. Those are
Oh
adorable.
yeah. Oh yeah. We have our Hedwig buddy. Um, Another thing that we have is we partner with Disney. So right now we have
Hmm.
a whole bunch of Star Wars products. We
Baby
have,
Yoda.
oh yeah, we have Marvel products like crazy. We have Black Panther products right now. We have,
Cool.
oh, Alice in Wonderland. Oh goodness, we're releasing Frozen products on the first. So
Oh
that's
my.
another big thing. And one of the major things that is so popular around September through December is, of course, Nightmare Before Christmas. That is
Oh, yes,
huge.
yes.
That is huge. Nightmare Before Christmas. That's a
Mm.
major popular thing. We also partner with the NFL and the NHL and rugby and the European Football League, like the
Oh
European soccer.
boy. Our CEO
So there,
Troy would love that. He's into the World Cup right now, so.
oh yeah. So we have so many warmers, and we do offer bundles and gift sets and discounts and so much stuff. I mean, there is just so much going on right now with Scentsy, and there's always new stuff coming out every week.
Wow.
And
Wow.
of course,
Now,
the one of the most
mhm.
popular, by the way, products too right now. I don't know what the deal is with this, but gnomes. Gnomes are really popular
Oh
right
my.
now.
Okay.
Gnome products. I know. It's no.
Okay.
So
They
yeah,
kind of come
I
around like every 10 years or so. The gnomes come back. It's just like in Harry
people are
Potter. The
going
gnomes just come back.
they are going crazy for gnomes right now. But
Oh
yeah,
my goodness. Well, I will tell you one of the fun things, one of the first things that I saw at a Scentsy booth was you also have a license with the Big Ten, of course, and being an Ohio State Buckeye, I was so excited and had no way to take the big Scentsy warmer home. And so I got a smaller one, but I got a couple Big Ten things for members of the family, which was a lot of fun. So, and the Buckeye one literally smelled like Buckeyes, which is kind of a chocolate peanut butter smell. So that was pretty amazing. And I was teasing my sister, who was a professor at the time at University of Wisconsin. So, does that one smell like cheese? Come on, tell me. She said, no, it does not. Okay. Oh, all right. Well,
yes, because our Scentsy
so
warmers
much
are paired
fun.
up with bars that are related to the fragrance.
Hmm.
So they try to put the fragrances that match up, and those are fun. I always get the fragrances. I always want to know. Like right now, we have Snow White products, and of course, the bar is very apple scented. It's like a
Hmm.
floral with apple, which is very Snow White to me.
Ah.
So
Hmm.
our wax right now is very, very popular because of the holidays with the bakery, the woods, and the
Hmm.
spice fragrances. During the summer, it's
Oh,
more of the
yes.
fresh, fruity, clean citrus, but right now, those bakery, woods, and spice fragrances are the thing.
Oh, wow. And I've got one of the woodsy ones here. It's called Christmas Cottage, and it smells like a fresh Christmas tree, and a little bit of cinnamon in there, and a little bit of kind of a woody, cedary smell. Oh, it's magical.
Yes, I have cedar cider in my bathroom, and in the rest of the house, I
Ooh.
have very snowy spruce. So my house smells like a Christmas tree. I don't need to worry about getting
Ooh.
a Christmas tree. My house is kind of small. So I don't have to worry about it because my house will smell like one all winter long.
Well, like I said, cats, no Christmas tree. No, I've got a 16-pound cat that it would be an unfortunate incident. Oh my. So when you are getting ready for the holiday season, because I would imagine, since he goes all year long, but especially the Christmas holidays, Mother's Day, Easter, that kind of thing, what do you
Mhm.
do to get ready? I mean, there's got to be like a ton of mailing and whatnot to get things out to people.
So my big thing is my Facebook. I do a lot of social media stuff. I have a Facebook
Mhm.
independent Scentsy consultant page, and I also have a group for my consistent loyal shoppers. And I
Oh,
always let them know early what's going on. I do a lot of fun spoilers. I do a lot of games in my group where I give free prizes. I also get samples and I like to mail them out to people, even if they're not customers, new customers, anybody. If they want a sample packet, I love to send them those out. Um, I I watch all these Scentsy videos that they have for us in home office so that we can prepare. Of course, I have to get all my graphics described. It is a process. It is a process, and there's always a holiday happening. Right now, as soon as Christmas is over, I have to jump into getting ready for Valentine's Day. Once
oh,
Valentine's
that's
Day is
right.
over, I have to jump
Mhm.
into getting ready for Easter and then Mother's Day and then Father's Day. So, oh, and
Aha.
in between that is the new spring summer catalog. So there's always something
Oh,
to do.
gotcha.
There's
It
always something to do, and it's fun. It
definitely.
is. It,
Ooh,
it requires a lot of mailing. Pirate Ship is my best friend. I use that that website a
ooh,
lot to get cheaper rates. And
ooh.
Aira, of course, I use the Intuit Small Business offer, and yeah, it's a lot of keeping records of people and keeping contact with people, and not just trying to sell, but keeping, hey, are you happy with your product? Do you like it? And what do you like about it? What do you not like? Just keeping good communication with my customers.
I love it. I love it. So we can open it up if anyone out there has any questions out on YouTube or on Zoom. Please raise your hand and Sid will get you set up here, or you can type your questions into the comment box on YouTube, and either of these three fine people will be happy to answer them. I'm going to go back to Casey here for a minute with technology. Um, do you see some trends in technology coming up with either assistive tech or just general tech that people are buying and talking about? And maybe what's the latest thing you've bought in terms of assistive tech?
One of the biggest thing I think I've seen, aside from the smart devices, there's been a lot of interest in the iPhone 14s, some of the newer Pixel devices that have been coming out for on the Android side, and then also just a lot of the just newer computers. And some people will even say, hey, should I get the blind shell or should I get an iPhone? So I get
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different questions like that. Um, and it's just so interesting to see just the trend of, it's not just computers, it's not just smartphones, it's not just smart speakers. It's kind of all over the place now, where people can just do things online, even with just a smart speaker, or so it's all over the place, which keeps things exciting and interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this time of year you get a lot of questions like that, and what should I get,
Oh, I
and
bet.
what is different, and what is better about this, that, and the other. So yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
just going to continue as we get more of these devices.
Smart microwave. I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, I had one of those old, I think it was a Hamilton Beach talking microwave
Oh
that was
yeah, I
around for
remember
quite a
those.
while.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. And it finally died. What are my alternatives? And I
Oh
said,
boy.
I have no idea. Are there any?
Yeah, it's funny. We were actually hunting for a microwave recently. We moved, and so yeah, it's sometimes hard to find one that's got the right match of somewhat accessibility and um that's also functional and usable. So yeah, it can definitely sometimes be a challenge. And of course, they do have the Alexa featured microwaves, but we wanted
Ah,
something a little bigger.
yes.
So it's kind of like, yeah, here you got accessibility with the Alexa, but it's not as big as we need it. So it's always kind of a trade off sometimes.
Exactly. And that was why I did not get one. It did not come in the size that we
Uh
needed.
huh.
Because I thought,
Yeah.
oh, this will be great. No. But interesting product. And I look for more and more of those. So let's talk audio editing. Uh oh. Tell us about what kind of editing you do. And is that a commercial kind of thing that people can say, okay, I want something special. Can you do that?
Yeah, a lot of what I get is people that want to do podcast editing and they just want to clean up audio for that. So it is a commercial option for people who need that. Sometimes it's just individuals who have a lot of recordings that they need to clean up. Maybe it's a college lecture that they've recorded, and they just want to take out all the nonsense in between, talking points and things like that. I've had requests for people to take a song and put sound effects or something to it. Sometimes I get just requests for that. It's kind of all over the place. Sometimes it's just make it sound better. Just take the static out. Maybe it's something from an old tape or radio, and they just want it cleaned up some. So it's all over the place as far as the requests, but it's one of those things that's really rewarding to do because you get a cleaned up, nice piece of audio that you can hand over to somebody, and it's a lot smaller than it was because you can take out all the nonsense that doesn't need to be there. So it's nice.
Put it in a different file format too, probably.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep.
Now, what software do you use for audio editing? Have to ask.
Well, I've tried a lot of them out there. I still like me personally. I still like Gold Wave. It's simple, it's easy, and can't argue with the hotkeys. And he's always good about putting hotkeys in. So I kind of go back to that, but there's quite a bit out there, and I've tried most of them, I think. So.
Oh, great. So if somebody said, well, gee, Casey, I want to get into this, what software, how can I get started? What should I do? You kind of have them covered.
Yeah, I try to. Yep.
Awesome. So, Brandon, I have 2 words for you that you're probably going to cringe when I say them. Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We go from the fun to the slightly, I don't even have a nice word for it. So interesting.
Definitely. Yeah. It's, I used to mess around with that a little bit a few years ago, and I've kind of stayed away from it. I think it's just personally really overhyped. I think, if people want to take a little bit of risk with 1 or 2% of their portfolio, then it's not too much of a problem as long as you don't get too overexposed to it. But it's definitely difficult. It's not on the business end. It's not something I'd mess with as a business. I know some people kind of just with the niche they're dealing with, they like to accept cryptocurrency. That's a mess. It's a whole mess I would not touch personally. But on the personal side, if someone wants to put, like I said, 1 or 2% of their portfolio into crypto just to see what it does, just in case. I mean, it's been kind of on a downtrend lately, I believe. I don't check into it too often, but every so often I think I checked a week or two ago and it was like, 17,000, 20,000, something like that for Bitcoin. But yeah, it's something that I think is it's probably here to stay just because it's gaining more acceptance, but I also think that's not nearly going to be as popular as some people think it is, just personally.
Great. And any advice about financial scams around the holidays? Because unfortunately, the bad people are out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And I think the biggest thing, especially, when people are getting into investing, this happens a lot. And the biggest thing is, if it sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. There's a lot of stuff on especially Facebook that I've seen in Facebook groups, or you'll get a message and they'll say, oh, I made $10,000 with this person, this person's advice over 1 month or something. That's never going to happen, and speaking of crypto, there are tons of scams in crypto too, so you want to be careful with that. But just be reasonable and really do your research before you get into anything. Just nice, simple investing is usually what's going to do the best for people. There's no need to get into anything fancy or anything that's going to try to get really high returns or things like that, that isn't already proven. So that's the biggest thing, is just do your research and don't fall for anything promises a lot.
Mhm. Interesting. And I know security is another big issue during the holidays with a lot of us out. Not quite as bad as it used to be, where you'd have your card and you'd
Yeah.
flip that card and people would see the number and all of that. But any advice on security? Should we be really looking at two-factor authentication for our banking kinds of things?
Yeah, I think two-factor authentication is always really important, especially for things that need to be more secure. And it goes into a little bit more detail, but I guess if you can use an authenticator app instead of like through SMS, that's more secure. I don't always do that because it's a bit more work and I'm a bit lazy in that way, but really,
Yep.
especially for things that are you need to be really secure, it's better to use like an authenticator app. I use something called Authy is what I use.
Yep.
So
Just
that's
going to
definitely,
suggest that one.
yeah, that's my favorite one. It's nice and accessible. It's really easy to use. I can even generally scan the QR code when I need to. Set up a new authentication. So that's the big thing. As far as cards and things like that, again, always being aware of your bank account is really important. Don't just wait until your bank statement comes out, but take a look maybe once a week, every few days. Make sure all the transactions are what they should be. If you can separate things from checking into savings, that way if the checking account gets drained, you still have money left. Even better if you have a credit card. And a lot of people are wary of credit cards, but one thing they're really good for is, if your credit card gets stolen or someone gets the number and uses it, that's not your money. You have time to file a chargeback or to file disputes. And you know, credit cards usually are more consumer friendly in that way too. And then your bank account isn't touched, so no one can just drain. If you have a few thousand in your
Yes.
checking account, and you use your debit card a lot and someone gets a hold of that, they could just drain it, and then that's actually your
Yep.
money. So using a credit card and then paying it off every month in full,
Yes.
that's really important. You don't want to get into debt about it, but using a credit card, especially when you're buying a lot of gifts and things like that around the holidays, that can really help to cut down on any potential fraud.
Excellent advice. Well, we have a few minutes. Sid, do we have any questions out
We
there?
we do, and what I was going to
Awesome.
suggest, if any of our listeners do have a question, to go ahead and raise your hand, or as Janine mentioned a moment ago, to type it in the chat window on YouTube. But we'll go to, and if we can, we also would like to limit each of our listeners to just one question each. But the first one we'll go to right now will be Jonas. And Jonas, if you are now connected, please feel free to ask your question.
Hi, Jonas. You may need to unmute. Which may be easier than, or maybe more difficult than we think,
It
actually.
looks like, tell you what, we'll see if we can circle back to Jonas in a moment. I do have one general question. This could be answered by any of our guests, and that is if they had any specific tips or when working with Aira that allow them to be more efficient, if they have any specific suggestions for our listeners when they're using the business offer.
Yeah,
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Oh, Jonas is back.
Oh, there's Jonas. Hi there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just multitasking here. I was just curious about the whole, Bitcoin stuff. Has anybody ever found an accessible wallet or an accessible exchange?
Yeah,
That's a very good question. Yeah, have you, Casey or Brendan, have you guys heard of anything?
when I was using it, I used to use Coinbase, and that was very accessible for the exchange. For the wallet, I'm on a Mac, so I don't know about Windows, but I used to use Electrum, and that, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was fairly accessible if I remember.
And I think there was some recently, I do recall hearing something about another app, and it's not in my brain at the moment, but it was something that it was on a post from NFB talking about an accessible wallet, I believe. So probably just doing a search there, but sounds like you have a couple choices there, Jonas.
Oh, and also, sorry, real quick, I just thought of one. Cash App has really accessible crypto trading also. So if I don't know how advanced it is, I haven't really messed with it, but I do know the app is very accessible. So that's another option.
And that one sounds familiar. That might have been what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you with the cryptocurrency, and if you find something that's accessible, it's promising that it even would be in that space. So accessibility means accessibility to everything, folks, whether you like it or not. So, anyway, let's see what else. We were going to tips and tricks. Let's go back to Krystle. Any tips and tricks for people who might be interested in using the small business offer?
So I use it a lot with, of course, TeamViewer. And if you're going to label your inventory, I suggest having a stand for your phone so that you can just place items under it, or else you're going to be tilting this way and that way. That's, I guess, my biggest advice would be make sure you have your the ability to have a stable camera view so that you're not, getting confused and stuff like that, because that's really important, especially when you're just inventorying one by one by one by one, and you're putting things under to be viewed.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice. Casey, anything from you?
Yeah. So the biggest complaint that I get, not directly related to Aira, but is with the TeamViewer application itself.
Oh, yes.
What I recommend for all of my customers is to, if you're going to use TeamViewer, download the TeamViewer QS exe program. It's basically, that's what it's called. It's called Quick Support is the name of it. It doesn't run in the background. It doesn't install anything, and it doesn't have any ads that you have to try to get through.
Oh, thank you. No pop-ups that you
yes,
can't get rid
so
of, right?
there's nothing that actually has to install. So I recommend just downloading that TeamViewer Quick Assist exe, put it on your desktop. Once you run it and agree to their little terms, then you just tab your way through. You get a read-only box with your ID. You get another read-only box with your password, and it's completely accessible. You don't need any extra scripts or software or anything else. So I recommend that if you're using TeamViewer with Aira.
Excellent, excellent. And that's TeamViewer Quick Support or TeamViewer QS. And you can find that on teamviewer.com. And that's a really popular one. We also support Microsoft Quick Assist, not to confuse anybody with names or anything there, but and that now in the latest versions of Windows 10 and 11 is actually part of your Windows operating system. So you can just pull up Quick Assist. No more installing it from the App Store, figuring out which one to get. It's just right there. But yeah, that's because the regular TeamViewer accessibility and those pop-ups, which I know on a Mac, I never know if I have a pop-up. So, it's one of those, oh really? There's a, oh no, and then of course there's the accessibility of those edit fields and edit boxes with that information. We also have access to, and our agents are familiar with, Google Remote Desktop, Chrome Remote Desktop, which works on both PC and Mac. So you've got a couple choices there, but I really do like the TeamViewer Quick Support. If you're on a Mac, you're going to have to do a couple permissions. It's kind of the same thing you have to do with TeamViewer. You do it once, you don't have to do it again, and life is grand. So, Brandon, any tips and tricks from you in using the small business offer? Anything you do to prepare to kind of maximize your time?
Yeah, the two biggest things for me, I think, I have they have my TeamViewer ID already stored in my profile, so they already know that, so I don't have to spend, the minute or whatever it takes to read that out every time. So that's helpful. And then just basically, I have everything all prepared and ready to go. If I have a document I need to be read, I have that open already. Whatever it is I need to do, I just have that prepared before I call in. Just that way, because you get like, I think it's 30 minutes in a day that you can use,
Yeah.
and 150 minutes in a month. So I like to make sure I'm all ready to go by the time I call in.
Excellent. Great advice. And that goes for any call, really, to maximize your use, but especially with the business software, because you may have a lot of moving parts there to have to deal with in terms of how many windows can you have open on your Mac. So we are getting down to the end of the hour here. Sid, do we have anybody out there on YouTube or
You
in
know,
the?
I think that's it. I think we've got
All
everybody's
right.
questions answered at the moment.
All right. Well, Brandon, can you give us your contact information and how people can get a hold of you if they would like to take some of your advice, have access to some of your services?
Yeah, so the easiest way is I have a website. It's possiblepromise.com. So just spelled how it sounds, possiblepromise.com. And in there I have, contact form. I have people can request a free consultation. They can schedule that. And I also do have a Facebook, but everything's very accessible from my website. That's the main way I would say to get in contact.
Awesome. And that is possiblepromise.com. Thank you so
Yes.
much. Casey, how about you? How can people reach you if they've got that new gadget or they want to brush up on their tech skills or get some good audio editing done?
Sure. So the website is the general option for that is webfriendlyhelp.com. You can also email me at help@webfriendlyhelp.com. And my phone number is 567-234-0078.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And now, and I have to ask you, Krystle, do you have any dragons in your collection? Because I'm a Game of Thrones House of the Dragon fan. So, I have to find out, do we have any Scentsy rumors that are.
Dragons, not yet, but I feel like that could come at any minute. I'll keep you in
Oh,
mind
I hope
because we
so.
we
Oh,
seriously every week get something new, and they do not tell us ahead of time. They tell us
oh my
like a
gosh.
week, like if things are releasing Monday, we know Thursday. So if
Gotcha.
it's a big thing like that, they make us wait too as consultants. So I will
Oh my
definitely keep
gosh.
you in
And
mind.
yes, please let me know because I don't have enough of that stuff in my office. So I'm trying to think of the bar that would go with that. I'm almost afraid actually, but
Oh, let me give you a tip
so
since you're a smart device
ooh,
user. Um,
mm-hmm.
I have my warmers plugged into smart plugs, and I have them on routines so that I don't
Ah,
have to worry about turning them on, turning them off, doing this, doing that. So, and those are
oh,
also controlled by my smart device. So whenever I want my warmers, I have my living room one set to turn on in the morning and turn off at night. And so that's a big tip that I give a lot of my
oh,
users.
oh,
Smart
I
plugs,
like
it's a
that. And I
thing.
do have a smart plug sitting right down here on my outlet that nothing is plugged into at the moment.
Yeah, if you know when
Awesome.
you're
So
in
how
your
can
office,
people?
definitely
Mhm.
make a little routine.
Well, these days, when am I not in my office? But so, how can people get a hold of you? Where can they find you to maybe take an order, find out what is available?
Okay, so the main way is, of course, my website that has a lot of my contact info, but my name is a little hard to spell, so I will spell it out. It's KRYSTLE, Z as in zebra, AMUDIO, and the website is at Scentsy, SCENTSY.us. You can also find me on Facebook with the Krystle Zamudio Independent Scentsy Consultant. You can email me
Ah,
at krystlesamudio@gmail.com, or I can give you my Google Voice number. That is 559 201 8387. And if you want to order by Christmas, the order cutoff date to make sure you have your gifts by then is December 15th.
Aha,
Or if
I
you
was
just want
just
a little,
wondering about that.
yeah, or if you want a sample packet from me, let me know, and I can also mail those out, free of charge. So I'm
Ooh,
always
tell people
willing to
you
get
heard
new
about it
customers.
here.
I have lots of sample wax cups, so let me
Ooh,
know.
ooh. Ooh, awesome. Well, I would like to thank all three of you. Wish you the best of luck in your business in 2023. And thank you so much for being part of the Aira family. This has been wonderful.
Thank you
And
for letting me participate.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I want to thank, of course, our producer, Sid. Thank you, Sid.
Thanks, Janine. Thanks, everyone.
And yeah, we hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season, whatever you are celebrating this holiday season. Enjoy your time with your friends and your family. And we will be here 24/7, 365 right here at Aira.